Okay, thank you so much. Well, here we go again. I'm back again. It is so good to be here. Thank you so much for having me, everybody. I would like to introduce myself. My name is Ethan, and I work with Merced College in our outreach department, helping to promote our career technical education programs, also known as CTE, which we'll be talking today about industrial electrical technician. And the other part of my job that I do is that I also, once you get into college, I help to support you through your journey here. So my role is kind of from the very first moment that you step foot on campus or step foot on Zoom, wherever you are, until the day that you receive your certificate or diploma and you're out of here. So we have a full service crew here, and that's kind of a little bit just about me. Actually, I should go into this slide here. So what I want to do, so I'm up here in the right in case you see me there and you wanted to take my number down. That is my Google Voice. You can call me on there. You can text me. We're working from home for now and for the foreseeable future. So that's the best way to get in touch with me. But who you are seeing here is your CTE support team. So our program is a little unique in that we already have what the future model is going to be. We have a support team in place that is here to help you to complete and focus on what's important, which is your education. And this is not available in all programs. So if you were to say come into college to be a chemistry major, you are not going to have a team like this who's going to be helping you to apply to help you apply for graduation. So this is a very special thing that eventually will be in all the programs, but these are the people that you would be reaching out to. All of these people on here can help you just like I can, and we'll talk a little bit more about them later. So let's get started. Okay, so here we are. What is the Industrial Electrical Technician program? What's it all about? What do you learn in there? What are some expectations? What happens after you graduate? So I'm going to kind of read this slide a little bit because there's a lot of words here. But the Merced College IET program, Industrial Electrical Technician program, what it does is it prepares students for employment. That's our goal, by giving you in-depth training in diagnosing, in building, and repairing electrical systems. So not just like an electrician, but a whole electrical system, including all the components that go with it. And things like generators, electrical motors, how they work, what their purpose is, transformers, like what does a transformer do? It transforms electricity. Controls and sensors, PLC, programmable logic controllers, which we'll get into in a little bit. It teaches you all about the different types of wire, how to wire, the codes and ordinances that go along with that, because electricity is dangerous, right? Electricity can kill. It's a real force, and it can mess you up. So there's safety involved, and we're going to talk all about that a little bit more when I go into the class breakdown. But this program also deals with solar power, which is huge. I don't know if you're aware, but in California, ever since 2020, all new houses that are built have to have solar panels on top of them. So who do you think is putting them up there? Just a little tidbit, a little preview there. So this program is actually multidisciplinary. You're not just learning about electronics. This program combines electrical courses. It combines mechanical courses, things like hydraulics and things like that, and also basic software design. That would be like where your PLC, the programmable logic controllers, comes in. So this program, you learn a lot of different things and how they all work together to achieve some kind of a goal. But I would say that this program, well, the very last sentence there, it provides tons of hands-on experience. So of course, like all of our CTE programs, you're going to be doing a lot of hands-on learning. It's not so much theory and, what happens if this happens. This is like you're going to be actually doing something and learning how to do by actually doing. So the best way I can explain this, just to kind of talk a little bit about what an industrial electrical technician does, is they are actually, if you can think about like large factories, where if I use like Gallo or Foster Farms as a thing, oh, somebody's in there, hey there. So as soon as, if you think about these factories and what they do in there, they have large equipment, industrial equipment, right? This is like custom equipment that's special made for whatever they're doing. If they're making wine or if they're, processing livestock, things like that. So if the equipment breaks down, this is probably the person they're calling to fix it, because this person is either going to have some kind of an electrical problem or some kind of a programming problem, something that this person would do. So that's really where these people are working, and that's where the demand is. So that's a little bit about the program. And what I did want to say is, so this program is versatile, right? What I'm going to be talking about today is a certificate option, but this program has many different pathways that we can get into. So we will talk a little bit about that and the options that you might have once you enter the program. So again, just so we can kind of reiterate, you're going to learn how to diagnose electrical systems. You're going to learn how electricity works, the consequences of electricity. Magnetism arises out of electricity. So there's a lot of things you have to learn. It's physics-based. We're going to learn about safety and regulations so you don't shock yourself to death because that would not be good, no bueno. We're going to learn how to maintain electrical systems, how solar power works, how to design systems for homes, and also a lot of hands-on skills and work. So how is this program laid out? Industrial electrical. This program, through a lot of trial and error, I think we came to the decision that a lot of people who join this program are trying to get a skill and go out into the workforce. So we refer to that pretty much as career technical education, and that's what this program is. So we said, you know what? We want to design this program to be done as quickly as possible. So want to get done fast, right? Like this is saying with our checkered flags and everything, then you jump into this pathway that we have created, this fast track pathway. And what that means is that you can do this whole program in only 2 semesters. So a semester is about 5 months in length, and 2 semesters means 1 year. So you'll have this entire program done in 1 year where you're going to learn all about all these different electric things, motors, transformers, and solar panels, all those things I mentioned. You're going to take all the core classes just for this, and then at the end, you will be done with your certificate. Just so you know, in these fast track programs, so they do have a time commitment, and we're going to talk about that on the next slide. It is a large time commitment, and it's not for everybody, but there are options available. So if you have, let's say, too much going on, or maybe you have a family you need to support, or you're working part-time, or maybe working full-time, and you're just looking to have a career change, you've heard like industrial electrical is the way to go, and you want to get in there, you don't have to take the fast track pathway. If you only have a couple hours a day, you can definitely take just a few of the classes. The only thing by doing that is that you will, of course, make the program take longer. So if you're taking half the classes, the program will take twice as long. That's just the nature of the program. Many of these classes are only offered once a year. And so it becomes, it just draws it out. But if that's your goal is to be an industrial electrical technician and you have to work to support your family, you can definitely do this program. These two, the fast track and we'll just call it the slow track, the fast track and the slow track, they're exactly the same in that you're in the class. If you take, let's say you just take one class, you are in class with fast track people. It is the same instructor. It is the same times. So everything's exactly the same. So you're still getting the quality education. You are still getting the dedicated support team that I was talking about in the beginning. We will support you whether you're in a fast track program or whether you're in just one of these, we call them parallel sections that are running alongside the fast track. So there's options. There's alternate pathways for this program. But most people start this program, well, I would say, let's say all people start this program in the fall. This program traditionally starts in the fall and it ends the following spring. So that's just a little bit about it, but let's take a look and see what an actual schedule looks like for this program. So this is a realistic schedule for this program for a fall semester. So let's say you were graduating from high school and you're gonna come in and you're like, how long am I gonna have to be here? So you can see on the top, these are the days of the week, and on the left side are the times of the day. So this program meets Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday from about 8 until 4:30. And you can see you have a little break for lunch right there. But in general, that is how long this program is. And that, for some people, I know probably eyes are bugging out, right? That's a lot of time. That's like a full-time job, and that's true. So that is one of the downsides, I guess you could say, of a fast track program is you have to have a freedom to do this time commitment because we're squeezing so many courses into a short amount of time. So that being said, this is a huge benefit because you got a 3-day weekend, okay, and you're getting this program done in 1 year. So if you can hang with this schedule, you can get done in 2 semesters. And this kind of looks a little crazy. So I want to explain why this looks this way, because to me on this, it looks like on Monday at 8 o'clock, you're in 2 classes at once, okay? And that's not accurate. So this Electronics 56 class, what happens is this class starts the first day of school and it will run for about 6 weeks and then it's over. And then this Industrial Tech 35 class starts and it runs for another 6 weeks and then it's over. So you see how they're working. You're doing about 2 to 3 classes at a time because there's about 7 classes in the fall semester for this program. And once 3 are done, then those end and they're done. You move on and then you start 3 more and you keep moving through the semester like that until you're done. So the good news is you're moving through it with the same people. So you're learning with the same group of, people that are in there, students, and you guys can develop the friendships. You can have, your study group. You can work with, develop those relationships with people, whatever makes it work for you to be successful in there. It's like you become a little family in there, right? Because you're there all day. And financial aid is available. So, this program is a certificate program, but it still counts for financial aid. You can get assistance to pay for this, and we will talk about that a little later on. But for now, I really kind of want to go into what are you going to learn and what are the classes all about. So this right here is your course breakdown. And as you can see, there is a first semester. So this would be your fall, 18 units, and these are all the classes you're going to take. And then your second semester, which is a little bit less, actually it's a lot a bit less, it's 13 units. And then you're only taking these 4 courses. So you can see these are actually listed in the order that you will take the classes. And I'm going to talk just a couple sentences on each class and what it involves so you can kind of get a better idea of what you're going to learn in there. But you can see the very first class that you'll take is ELCT 52, which is your Intro to Electricity class. So sounds like a good place to start, right? Because that's your basic introduction to electronics and electricity and how and why it works. So you're going to learn all about the fancy terms, resistance, inductance, capacitance, and all those things and how power can be converted. You'll learn how to build and diagnose circuits, electrical circuits, using, this is your theory class. So you're going to be using formulas. You're going to be using laws. Like, have you ever heard of ohms? I don't know, maybe that sounds familiar to me. I've heard of ohms. So ohms is one thing you'll be using. It also talks about magnetism because electricity, as it moves through wires, it forms a magnetic field. So you have to learn about magnetism and how that can affect machinery, right? How that can have a positive or negative effect. The next class you're going to go into is your conduit bending theory. So conduit, you're going to learn, it's in the title. So you're going to learn about bending conduit. And if you don't know what conduit is like the protective shell that goes around wiring. So if you can think about, something running on the wall and it's kind of just looks like a little tube, it's bent around corners and stuff, that's conduit. And inside is the wires because, you can't touch bare wire, you'd be getting shocked. So you have to learn about conduit. It's an integral part of making an electrical system. So you'll learn all about the different types of bends there are. There's 90-degree bends, there's saddle bends, corner offset bends. And you're also going to learn about the different types of materials, when to use them. And of course, you have to learn all about the codes and the requirements because everywhere has different laws and regulations about what is appropriate to use. So you're going to be learning all about those things in there. And this is all part of it. To build a whole system, you have to have a complete, the wires have to be covered. The wires have to be the right gauge. So you're going to learn all of this in there. Your next class, the fluid power. So fluid power kind of seems like, why is this class in here, right? Fluid power means hydraulics. So hydraulics, and you'll learn about vacuum systems and other things that go with hydraulics. But hydraulics, in case you don't know, the purpose of hydraulics is to pretty much take like an input. I don't know how to describe it. If you're putting in a certain amount of power, hydraulics are there to enhance it. So if you can think about like a steering wheel, in the old days of the steering wheel, when it was a hydraulic system, you would turn the steering wheel and it was real easy to steer. And the reason why is because there was like a power steering pump and they were using hydraulics to help lessen the load. If you've ever driven an old car with no power steering, you are in for a world of hurt because it is very heavy. So fluid can make you a super person, pretty much. So it's interesting, and you're going to learn about all of that and how that applies to this career. All right, next on the list, electronics 41. So in this class, you're going to be learning all about industrial motors, which is why it's called industrial motors, and all the equipment that you need to learn how to control them. So some motors work by converting like electricity into different type of energy. So think about like a fan that you would plug in your house in the summer, because in Merced, it's hecka hot, right? And so you need to have a fan to stay cool. The fan, if you think about it, you're plugging in the fan to the wall. Why? You're plugging it in to get power, right? Electrical power. to power a motor inside the fan, and the motor is converting that electricity into a mechanical motion or kinetic motion to blow the air onto your face so that you can just feel the relief, right? That is what you're going to be learning in here. How that works, why it works, the different controls and diagrams, and how you make all these things work together to get your result. So that's a little bit on that one. Electronics 47, electrical motors. So you see there's a lot of motors. There's different types of things. So this electrical motors course, I think this is really the course where you're going to get into like the nuts and bolts of industrial electrical technician. So you're going to learn about electrical motors, generators, transformers, how they work and how they work together so that you can distribute electricity to the machines that need to be powered to do whatever they're doing. You know, if they're crushing grapes, I don't know if they have people crushing grapes by feet anymore, however they do it. You ever watch I Love Lucy? Their electricity is like the lifeblood of our society, right? And machines are doing all this work for us. So did anybody hear about the power outage in Texas that left like millions of people with no power, right? In the dark for days on end, right? Somebody is probably getting fired right now because they didn't pay attention in this class. So there you go. That's what this class is all about. But I'm just kidding. There were a lot of things actually going on with the Texas power outages, but this is one of them. Knowing how to properly set up systems and scale them is what this is all about. So I'm going to kind of breeze through the next few because, as you know, I can be talkative and I am blabbing on a little bit. But on the next class, Industrial Tech 49, so this is your codes and ordinances. So as I said earlier, you have to learn all about the different types of regulations that cover electricity, how they are supposed to be set up in houses, how they are supposed to be set up in industry. So that is what this course goes over, and you need to know how to safely operate and use electricity. And the very last course of your first semester is going to be PLC, or the programmable logic controllers. So this is, the other one was the nuts and bolts, but I feel like this is the meat and potatoes. Because if you don't know what a PLC is, my knowledge is a little gappy, but my understanding is that PLCs are like, they're like specialized computers, essentially, that they're used in like large industrial factories, like assembly lines, for instance. It's like a computer on steroids, I guess you could say. But when I say steroids, I don't mean it's like strong. I mean, it's really resilient. It's like a rugged computer. They withstand these environments, which are often dusty and things like that. So they're not like a computer, like the laptop I'm talking to you on right now. They're made to be reliable so they don't crash. They have to be easily programmed. And so that's what you're learning. You're learning how to build these systems, these computers, how to program them, and how to tell them to pretty much do what you want them to do. And you're setting them up to be very resilient. And if something were to go wrong, they are easy to diagnose and to repair. So that's what this course is going to be dealing with. This is probably the bulk of your learning that you would want to pay attention to. So that's your first semester. The other ones, I'm just going to briefly touch on, but you're going to be learning about wiring, of course, because in case you're not aware, there are different gauges of electrical wire. Certain wires can handle certain loads. So you can't send like your air conditioning unit load, the electricity requirement through a household plug because it will melt. It generates too much heat when the electricity goes through the wire. So those are the kinds of things you're going to be learning in this class. And you'll learn how to read blueprints and layouts and all about safety so that you, again, don't shock yourself. And I've already kind of touched on the solar installer one, so I won't really go there, but you are going to learn how to design solar panel setups for homes, the appropriate sizing and requirements that you would need to do in order to, work for like a solar company, setting those up. That's going to be a huge industry. We are moving away. It's just, well, in my opinion, but I think it's the way it's going, is that we're moving away from fossil fuels and we're moving towards renewables. So solar, wind, and all those hydroelectric things like that are going to be climbing the popularity scale. So getting this skill is going to be very helpful in the future. And the last two, there's one about power transmissions, which is just about all the other generators and transmissions. It's just a building on a previous class to get you more advanced knowledge and how electricity works and how to move it around. But the very last one that I do want to spend just a minute to talk about is the mechatronics. So it's like, does anybody know what mechatronics means? Because I think that's kind of like an unusual term. I haven't heard it before. I had to look it up, honestly. But once I read up on it, it made perfect sense. And so just thinking about it, the easiest way I can think of explaining it is to think, actually, if you look at that picture on the right there, you'll see there is looks like a truck pickup truck being assembled by robots. And this course combines the ideas of mechanical, electronic, and software engineering, kind of like the whole technician program. So the best way I can think to visualize is this picture right here. What you are looking at is mechatronics, okay? It's robotic arms moving around, welding parts together, using suction cups to put the doors on there. An automated car building factory is a perfect example of mechatronics. So these are the kinds of setups that you will be diagnosing, repairing, and learning how to build. So I think that's pretty cool, right? I mean, robotics is the future. So very, very cool stuff that you can learn in there. And I think that about wraps up my intense breakdown here. So let's move on to the next slide. So, okay, so I told you about the program. I told you about the time commitment. I've told you, you know, what to expect and the options you might have if you can't do the full-time program. So after you've learned all of those classes that I went on about, what do you get? And the answer is an industrial electrical technician certificate. So once you complete all those classes, you are certified as an industrial electrical technician, which is good enough to go take you to apply for a job and begin working and making pretty good money, which we'll talk about in a little bit here. You know, this program only has one certificate available, and there's not one to really stack on top like some of our other programs have. But if you find yourself going to apply for a job and maybe in the future, you know, you want to move up the ranks and you're like, well, I don't have enough experience, but my boss says if I can get more education. The good news is if you want to go big, you can get your associate degree as an industrial electrical technician as well, which is great. It's totally awesome because this is going to set you apart from other people who maybe just have a certificate. This can open up the doors to supervisory roles. When you go to apply for a job, you'll have more negotiating power when you want to ask for your salary that you deserve because you have more education and therefore, you know, you're more valuable. So this program can build into a good career for you with this one certification. Now, we do have other certifications at Merced College dealing with electricity. So if you wanted to expand your knowledge, you definitely could, but they're not directly linked to this program. So I didn't really want to go into too much detail, but just know that it is an option and you can get additional skills if you want to come back. So what does the career outlook look like? Like, this is great, Ethan. You know, you told me all this stuff. I got my degree. So what do I do? Where do I go work? Are there jobs in this field? So this chart here talks a little bit about the career outlook for this program. And what you can see here is that these people are getting paid pretty good, mean hourly wage. So $28 an hour, almost $60,000 a year. And this is like the mean amount. This is not a maximum or a minimum. This is like somewhere in the middle. That's pretty darn good money for a year's worth of education at a community college level. You know, these are good specialized jobs. You'd have a secure future and you have a skill that not many people know about. So if you look at the little chart below, you'll notice this is like a ranking of employers or jobs available by every state in our country, in the United States. And guess who's at the top? So California, good old California, you know, we're at the top of a lot of things, but here we are again. We have the most jobs available and most people employed in jobs for electrical and electronics repairers, commercial, industrial, of anywhere in the nation. And the hourly mean wage you can see in California is actually higher. This was the nationwide, $28. So it's $30 in California. That's a lot of money. That's awesome. So $64,000, you know, you're making good money here and the jobs are definitely here. You can see how many are here. So looking at this chart, I mean, I've already said it. California, all these dark green states, these are the biggest employers of industrial electrical technicians and repairers. But there's something else. I don't know if you see it, but do you notice on this map, it's completely green? So guess what? You can take this job anywhere that you want to, right? You can go anywhere in the country. You can even go to Alaska with this job. You could not go to Alaska with the last job that I did on here. You can go to Alaska, you can go to Hawaii, live in paradise. You can go to Puerto Rico. This can take you nationwide. If you're just like, I don't really care for Merced, I don't like it. I just want to get my education and move away with my $30 an hour. You know, that's your prerogative. You can knock yourself out because you can go anywhere. You can go up to beautiful Oregon where it rains all the time and it's nice and green. That's where I want to go. So, but as you can see, it's a very lucrative. You can make some good money on a little bit of education. And I don't have a success story about one of our students in particular, but I can tell you this much. I asked the instructor on this program, um, what's it like? What happens with the people who are in there learning? And the answer was right now. So we are almost done with spring. So there are people in this program wrapping up right now, and the people in this program are being reached out to by companies. They're actually reaching out to the instructor, and the instructor, they're asking the instructor, where are your people at? Like, are they ready to start working? And so that's what's going on, is that they are pretty much poaching away our students by the time they get their certificates, because they know what kind of people we put out in these programs. So joining this program can get you employed just by, on its face, of being in our program. So definitely something to think about. Like I said, there's tons of jobs. California is the top employer in the nation for this particular career. So now that we talked about where you're going to work and what it takes to get there, why would you want to choose Merced College, right? Why? What if you're like, I hate, the Central Valley. I've got to get out of here. It's too hot. I need to go to the coast, and I can just go to, another school like, I don't know, ITT Tech, or I can go learn and take a trade school. Okay, so I want to compare what it costs to go to a trade school versus what it costs to go to Merced College, and why you need to choose Merced College. So this is real data that I pulled on a similar program to the Industrial Electrical Technician program. And there's a lot of numbers, I know, but what I really want you to focus on is right here. So this $22,958, that is your remaining. Okay, so this is what this says, is this is the remaining amount that you owe after they've already given you all of your scholarships, your grant money, which is your free money, all those things, which aren't guaranteed, by the way. It depends on a lot of factors. They're saying best case scenario, this is the amount you're going to have to pay out of pocket. That means loans. $22,958. Okay, you want to hear that being screamed out on The Price is Right for your new car, not for your student loan bill. So this is a shocker, because yes, you will have to take out loans to do a program for 11 months. How much does this cost at Merced College for the same 11 months? Actually, it's 10 months because you're not in school in the summer. It costs $1,700. So that's less than 10% of this number. $1,700, $1,700 for the full year. That includes your books, that includes your supplies, your tools, everything, your enrollment. And the great news is, I mean, if that wasn't enough to kind of sell you like, oh my gosh, I don't want to spend $23,000 to repay all this for the next 20 years, financial aid at Merced College will probably cover all of your fees. It's going to cover probably all of this. Over 85% of our students got $30 million total in financial aid last year. So there's a ton of money available. And what I do want to talk about is like, how do you get access to that money, and what are some of the types that can help you to pay for this? So if this wasn't enough to like make you want to go to Merced College, let's talk about some of the financial aid. Okay, so our big one that we have, the most important one that most people will qualify for, is the California College Promise. It is courtesy of the state of California, 2-year full-time, if you're a first-time college student graduating high school and you are a full-time student, which you will be in this program, more than 12 units, then your first 2 years at community college are completely free, courtesy of the state of California. Thank you. Goodbye, mic drop. So that is an amazing opportunity. This is not something that is available all over the country. This is a California community college program, courtesy of the state. We offer this 2-year program, and all you have to do to qualify is you need to be graduated from high school and enrolled full-time. That's it. You have to do your financial aid application, also known as FAFSA, or if you are an undocumented student, you can do the DREAM Act application, and you will automatically receive this as long as you meet these 2 requirements. That's it. And it pays for all the tuition fees. So now let me be clear. This doesn't pay for your books. This doesn't pay for miscellaneous fees like $40. This pays for the enrollment, for you to be able to sit in the seat in the class. Okay. There are other types of aid that will help pay for the books, and I will give you a little taste of that. But first, I just wanted to say, let's say you've already graduated high school, or maybe you've been to Merced College before, or maybe you know somebody who would be really interested in this program and they've maybe been to college before. There is a program that does exactly the same thing, except it's called the California College Promise Grant. Not the promise, but it's the promise grant. Confusing, I know, but it does the same thing. All you have to do, the only difference is that it's based off your income. So like, let's say me, I've already been to college and I want to go back to Merced College tomorrow. I can apply for financial aid and I will most likely get the same thing of getting my fees paid because of the generosity of the promise grant. So again, all you have to do is apply for financial aid or DREAM Act. And if you fall within the income requirements, which unless you're balling or your parents are balling, you are going to get this because it's very generous. The income range is very, very wide. So most everybody qualifies for the promise or the promise grant and does not pay a single, shiny nickel to enroll in the college. So those are two of our programs that will get you into college and help you pay the enrollment fees. But there are so many other types of financial aid. There are grants, which means free money. The big one is through the federal government. So this is not California. This is the United States out of Washington, D.C. government. They provide what's called the Pell Grant. And the Pell Grant for this upcoming year is a maximum of $6,500 for the year, which means you could be taking home like over $3,000 a semester. And you'd actually maybe be getting paid to go to Merced College. When I went to college at Merced College, I got the Promise Grant. It was called something else, but I got this and I got the Pell Grant because, I had no job and I had no income. I was 27 years old. So I got about $400 a month. And that was in the form of like cash to me to spend however I needed to. So it's very possible that you can actually be getting money to help you be in school, be successful, get your books, pay for a car, whatever you need. That's just one of the grants. And there are so many more available that I couldn't possibly go into them all. But please do not let money or the lack of it be the reason that you do not apply and go to school. Okay, I hear it every day, and I just can't reiterate enough. If you think you don't qualify or you're not going to try to apply for financial aid, you're not doing yourself any favors and you need to try to apply. The worst thing they can say is no. So let's talk a little bit about that just really fast. I want to kind of talk about the program. So what if I think I don't qualify for financial aid, Ethan, because my parents make so much money and we're just rich beyond our wildest dreams and I just know, okay? I've heard tons of people say this and I want to tell you like real true stories. I can count more than fingers I have, I guess, that people that have said, I don't qualify, I'm not going to apply. I encourage them to apply. I make them apply and they have received something in financial aid. So if you tell yourself you're not going to apply, that's like saying, I'm not going to apply for this job. I know I won't get it. You can't do that, right? You just don't know. So you have to apply to see. And applying opens up the door to so many other things. So we also have scholarships over $100,000 that we give out every year that are not based, like even if you make too much money or your parents make too much money, they're not based on that. They're based on your talents or your major or your community service. We also have grants. Actually, just right before this presentation, they opened up a COVID-19 emergency grant, courtesy of the government, and they are giving out, last time it was $1,000. And all you needed to do was to apply, and it was pretty much first come, first serve, but tons of people got it. Millions of dollars were given out for those grants. So we have grants like that that you can use to purchase whatever you need. We have occasional grants that come up for $300 for help with your textbooks. We have a laptop loaner program. If you don't have a computer, or if your computer just sucks and you need a better one, we can lend you one. We have mobile hotspots. If you live out in the cuts and your internet is bad or slow, too slow for this, you can request a mobile hotspot. So you see what I'm saying? There's really no excuse for you not to come to Merced College. We can give you so much to help you out. If you can't, let's just say, okay, the money's not here, you don't have your textbooks. Guess what? They're all at the Merced College library. And I can help you to get copies of them so that you can have copies of your textbook pages while you're waiting for your money to come in. WorkNet of Merced County can assist with textbooks, supplies, and other required items for your program. All you have to do is apply because this program is eligible to be supported. They can help you with all of these supplies. while you're in school and after you leave school. They even have a program. If you find a job and your employer is willing to do it, to hire you, they will reimburse your employer as an incentive for like half of your salary for 6 months so that they can try to incentivize your employer to hire you. So working at Merced County offers an incredible service. These are just some of the places that we partner with and some of the things we can do to help you be successful so you don't have to worry about the financial side of it. And if all else fails, okay, and Ethan lied to you and you really couldn't get any financial aid and none of these places can help you, which would be, I don't think I've ever seen it happen, maybe once, you can make a payment plan, okay? So your $1,700, well, it'd be per semester. So like $600 per semester, you can divide it into 4 payments and that's more manageable for you, okay? So payment plans are available and they're very, very flexible and forgiving with it. So again, do not let money or the lack of it be the reason you don't apply or reach out to me or go to college. Even if you decide not to go to Merced College, anywhere, there's a lot of help out there. Okay, so really fast on my last slide here, I just want to talk about 3 things so that I can kind of reiterate, because there's 2 things I haven't really mentioned. So one is stackable certificates. Okay, Ethan, what does that even mean? What is stackable? Why is it in quotation marks? So a stackable certificate, actually in this program, we do not have any stackable certificates. So some of our programs, what this means is that you take, like for instance, you would take this industrial electrical program, and then you could take one more class and you would get an additional certificate. So we do not promote this as a stackable program. However, there are extra electronics courses you can take to receive additional certificates. So what this means is not only would you have your industrial electrical certificate, but you could add on another certificate. You can get multiple. You don't have to just have one. You can have your certificate and your associate degree. So one of the benefits of this is getting a good core knowledge that you can branch out and kind of expand onto if you want to. And that's one of the big benefits of the fast track, because you're getting it done so quickly that it's easy to stack on, because if you have to stay an extra semester, is it a big deal? It's another 5 months, no big deal. So that's one of the big advantages we have on our fast track program. The other one that I really want to stress is, if I haven't really kind of like made it clear, the overall goal of our team is, do you see how this is kind of like a web? So these are all connected. So everything in our fast track program is connected. And one of the things that we do provide you is assistance with paid internships or employment opportunities. So like I was saying, how people in this program are already getting poached by employers because they're saying, where are your people at? We're ready to hire them. So we have a team and they get notification from these employers that they are looking to hire our people. So that being said, we know you're going to have the certificate, you're going to graduate. But what we don't know is, do you know how to make a resume? Do you know how long it should be, what you need to include, what not to include? Do you know how to write a cover letter? Have you ever been to an interview before? So we know that a lot of people have never done any of these things, or they're like me, they like really suck. Like they hate interviews. They don't like to be in front of people. They turn bright red. They're stuttering everywhere, sweating. So we have workshops that we have set up on Fridays, which is usually when you're not in class, that you can attend to learn and to have someone help you do all these things. So throughout your program, you'll start with a cover letter. And then maybe a month later, you'll do your resume. And someone's going to help you review it, be sure it looks good. And then we're going to have mock interviews where you come in and you do a fake interview. So you can build on all those skills, get comfortable so that when the time comes and you have to really sit in the chair, that you're going to feel confident that you can sell yourself. And I'm going to be honest, these are highly, highly, highly underutilized services. Not many people utilize them. And by not doing that, they are shooting themselves in the feet, because guess what? If you go to these workshops, we know Big Brother is watching. We know you're there. And if we get a job, and let's say you've gone to the workshop and your instructor, we reach out to them, we're like, hey, is Greg cool? Like, does he get along with everybody? Is he like a go-getter? Is he on time? What's he like? And then your instructor goes, Mr. Hamilton says, Greg is bomb.com. You got to hire this guy, right? And guess what? You went to all the workshops. Everything was awesome. Guess who's going to get first in line when we go to put out that job? It's going to be Greg, because he did everything he was supposed to do. And we know who he is, because if you didn't go to the workshops, we don't even know who you are, because maybe you're just going and, we've never seen you before. So this is so important. We work together. Everything is interconnected, and it's all to help you get skills and to get a job. So we are there, and that is our purpose. Okay. So please, if you think about joining, take advantage of these, take advantage of this. Sometimes, and I say this often, sometimes it is not just about the what you know, your certificate that you learned and you earned, but it really is sometimes about who you know and people that can get you connections. So this is a connection. That's really what this is. So take advantage of it. Don't leave anything on the table. Don't leave anything to chance. Utilize everything. And that's what our program tries to really push. So that being said, I'm pretty much done. And what I want to say is this. If you are interested in the industrial electrical program, this program is guaranteed to fill up every semester, no exceptions. It will always be full every single semester, and it will fill quickly. It enrolls about 25 students, even now in coronavirus times, because we have them split up. So we have a full class running, a full program every time. Program starts in fall only. You need to contact me early, especially right now, because now is the time to apply for fall. We are in March right now. Now is the time to do your application, to do your orientation, go through the enrollment steps, and talk to Counselor Araceli so we can get you enrolled now, and to do your financial aid. So that being said, here is my contact information again. I'm in the top left. But if you're like, Ethan, I don't like you, you're boring or whatever, I'm scared of you and I don't want to talk to you, I want to talk to somebody else. Okay, go talk to Sarah. Sarah can do exactly what I can do. Talk to Counselor Araceli, talk to Autumn or Mackenzie. Any one of us can help you out. We're here to support you. That's what we are working to do, is to make you successful. So with all of that, I think I'm about done. I hope I answered all your questions on industrial electrical technician, but again, just reach out to me if you have any questions. And at this time, I'll take questions from anyone in the audience.